Become a tradition in Perdido Key as friends, family, and the community gathered to celebrate the life of Army Private Rosamond Johnson Jr., who at 17 years old made the ultimate sacrifice in the Korean War. Every year in May, the community in Escambia County pauses to honor the sacrifice of a local hero at the beach that bears his name.
He stood the watch so that me, you, and our families and generations to come could sleep soundly at night.
Army Private Rosamond Johnson Jr. lied about his age and joined the military at just 15 years old.
My grandmother told us that he said that God told him he needed to go and serve, that he had prayed about it, and that that's what God wanted him to do.
2 years later, during the Korean War, Private Johnson successfully carried 2 wounded soldiers to safety. He was going back for a third when he was killed on July 26, 1950, when he was 17 years old, making him the first Escambia County resident to die during the Korean War. His niece, Pamela Johnson Glenn, remembers meeting the family of one of the men he saved years ago.
He said, "Miss Johnson, I'm sorry that you lost your son, but I am so glad that I was able to get to know my uncle because of what he did."
During the time of Private Johnson's service and sacrifice, Jim Crow laws were still limiting the rights of African Americans across the country, including in Escambia County, where black people weren't allowed on Pensacola Beach and instead went to the eastern end of Perdido Key. Shortly after the war, the same beach that Johnson spent time as a kid was officially named Rosamond Johnson Beach.
Here, Rosamond Johnson's name forever lives in a pantheon of black heroes at Gulf Islands.
Soldier, stand relieved.
Despite his sacrifice, some say Private Johnson's story isn't as well known as it should be, which is why every year they hold this celebration to make sure his legacy lives on.
Had he not brought this recognition to Pensacola, I probably wouldn't be serving as a commissioner, and many of us probably wouldn't have the positions that we have.
When called to give the last full measure for others, his selflessness is that beacon that we can all draw inspiration from as we face the obstacles and challenges in our own lives.
Private Johnson was also awarded the Purple Heart in 1950.